like strong-willed, like stubborn, physically strong as well. A family man, kind of, I think.
Guys are kind of, again, like dominant, risk takers, a little bit like, I don't know, like maybe not as like hardworking in the classroom. That we, like, I don't know, like we don't have like feelings, or we don't like empathize, or like really have like sympathy for a lot of people. Like stereotypically, I think that's almost a sign of weakness. When males like, you know, even if like not even like crying or something, but just like even like feeling like sad, or kind of like even like down on yourself, like I think that's perceived by other males, and then even like females, this is a sign of weakness, and that we can't, like we don't have the ability to like cover that up, or like kind of like stand up for ourselves, kind of. I think it's perceived that we are always kind of strong, and that's how we always come across. I feel it's not always the case. I mean, everyone, you know, needs to, you know, we can't always be strong. Nobody can. But I think for some reason that people just kind of do something that we always need to be there and be, you know, such a stronger one, like especially in like a relationship too, that we can always be there, not only for ourselves, but for
As a college male, I'm definitely seen as a person who goes to class on the weekdays, go work out after that, and then do something. Definitely seems like a aggressive person. Look at college videos or try to put up stuff that's what's on college. So I'm definitely seeing somebody kind of look out on you, conscious of where you are with the moment. It makes me feel targeted. I guess judged before I've even like gotten to know of. Since that is the stereotype one. Stereotypes I definitely feel are towards males are we're probably closing distance. Closed minded definitely. Not really up to change. You have to be ready to address it. Lack the ability to show emotion. Chances of you being around a guy with like a very sensitive matter, very unlikely. Mostly I usually go around my male friends. I don't know, could be anger, happiness. Well, I mean, you don't really have to hide everything. Even sad emotions sometimes. I mean, my friends, they're perfectly fine with, showing sadness, depending on the situation. Because they know you're human. I rarely talk about it with male friends, but when I do, it's usually about maybe a death in the family, or just like a rough death.
How do you think males want certain things?
What are those certain things?
Sex.
Okay. And what do you mean by that?
A lot of times people think you're attracted to them at a party, that because you're a male, you want to is macho, who perpetuates the American idea of gender roles in as far as being very close to the male side of the spectrum. And actually, in American society, we don't tend to think of a spectrum. We tend to think of the dichotomy male-female. And that's not really how I view things. There's a huge gender spectrum that just isn't seen in our society or culture at all. So when I think of stereotypical male, I think of what most Americans think of, and it's the very right dichotomous macho man. The way I've grown up, it's not acceptable to be a male who appears effeminate. If you hold a high position and you are more lean towards what Americans would call female gender specific traits. As a male in a high position, you're going to be looked down upon by your employees. You're going to be seen as less powerful, and they're not going to respond as well as they would if there's a powerful male figure. Just because of the way I behave, people will assume certain things about me. They will think, I guess people will tell me I behave in a way that is probably more competitive and macho, I guess, but they don't. So that would be how I'm stereotyped, and it doesn't affect me negatively because that's one of the accepted views, I guess. So I guess I'm privileged in that way. When I was younger, I think I was insecure a lot, and I don't know exactly what transpired to change that about me, but just a series of events or maturity in and of itself, but eventually I guess self-advocacy and self-confidence overcame those insecurities, but definitely as a younger child would subscribe to a lot of wanting to be seen as a jock in school. When I was in high school, I was skinny and bad at sports, so I wanted to be that guy.
And so the girls like they always have like kind of the big jobs, always do they always play sports. They take positions that are kind of really important to society. You know, like a lot of politicians, a lot of like athletes, a lot of kind of important people, like police officers are usually all male, firefighters are all male, people like that have a high status in society are usually male, and I feel like that's kind of why society thinks. That's kind of like where society gets the impression that males are usually, like, I don't want to use the word portray, but usually like kind of have more leadership skills or a bit of like I feel like I'm a very like open to like I control emotions. Which is something that usually like most males are supposed to do. When I'm upset with something, I have to talk to somebody else about it. Like it's just something that like will destroy me inside. If I don't,
and I don't think those are fighting because I'm not that kind of man, and I
feel like definitely like kind of mentioned before, like being in high school is kind of like a place where like people, I guess I could say judge you more, and that kind of really put you into like different cliques or whatever, and that is kind of like, it was all kind of a popularity thing or whatever. But then here in college, like if you find friends, if you find people that you're around, like who know you for who you are, I have no problem being open like with them or with anybody, and I feel like that's how you become good friends with somebody, is if you can start talking to them and have normal conversations with them and really just know who they are. A big part of like when I'm like upset about something or I really need support, like I really need someone who I can go to and like just tell anything to and not exactly be and know and trust, be able to trust them that they're not going to go out and tell other people. And that's like one thing that like I know helps me. Like if I'm like upset about something or I need support with something, like I have to be able to trust people. If I can't tell you like different pieces of things, like it's not going to make me feel better at all. And that's a huge aspect of being able to trust them and being able to know that they're really there for you and instead of just kind of for you. But I do find it a lot easier to talk to my female friends more than my male friends about my feelings.
Why do you do that?
Don't really know. It's just one of those things where I just feel more comfortable with. Because with a lot of guys, it's like they don't really aren't that helpful. Like, oh, well, hope you get better. And a lot of people I look up to here at college, by leaders, whether it be student leaders or complex directors or what have you. I do look for the different mother, caring, nurturing aspect, and then the father, mentoring aspect. A lot of my friends are more helpful when I come in with emotional things. They're able to more talk to me, give me ideas, better ways to deal with it.
Whereas a lot of my male friends are just like, you can go run it off, it'll be fine. But not all my male friends are like that.
Do you look for anything else?
When I'm looking for someone to talk to, more openness. If you try and go to someone and they seem like shut off or busy, you're like, I don't really want to bother them. And where someone's gonna have the door open, they're like, hey, what's up? You okay? You feel more comfortable exercises to get them more comfortable with openness around different types of people.
Depends on, I guess, my friendship circle. So that's male or female. As far as being that personal, I definitely feel that depends on how comfortable I am. Really in tune with who I am. I don't really care that I have to fit into the male stereotype. I'm comfortable being me. I do have some but sisters I've been more open to suggestions, very compassionate. I have a lot of passion about what I do.